and they had their charges on him. They finished up putting charges onto him that they would have put onto me if they could have got me. But fortunately they didn't get me. And they put other more onto him. And he had this Detective Sergeant Mears. He was their key witness. Mears was like this. Go like this. Go like this.
Wringing his hands.
Ringing Patterson at him. Oh, and he bowled him out as a bloody liar. And I remember Mears said, "I'm surprised at you, Mr. Patterson." Patterson said, "I'm not." You know, you wouldn't think he was the kind of gentleman.
Yeah.
I'd lead him up, trying to go, no, you know, calm and cool. But Lord Christ, when he was on the attack. He was a Kilkenny cat.
Was he?
Oh, when he was on the attack. He could attack, by golly. And that's, I think Fred modelled himself on an English lawyer that didn't rely on witness, relied on the attack. Listen to them and tear them to pieces. And he was a past master at it. And he could have got any position in Queensland had he wanted to, because he was brilliant. And then he'd just get around in his shirt sleeves and that, and then he'd be out in the box, get up in the box, and the fellow would know that night or somewhere, and he would speak. And after the Parramatta blow, in the trial, she came down and spoke on in Cairns. They wouldn't even permit, so they put a chair down on the beach and he spoke there.
Oh, beneath the high tide mark, and it wasn't Cairns, that's right.
Yeah, they are. They lined up and practically everybody in Cairns come that night.
I believe it was the biggest meeting
Oh,
in
biggest Cairns. Biggest meeting in Cairns. They asked him all the silly questions imaginable. But Fred, they talk about Menzies and then been quick in that answer. Nobody could get up with Fred. Fred would just go from one to the other. Answer. You might be a question. You go back and again. Answer. Anyway, they put up a question. There's one silly mug there. Do you believe in black gents wearing silk stockings? We're not concerned what kind of stockings your wife wears and straight. He was
sharp, was he?
Oh, sharp. Off the cuff, one after the other. Bob them up, they could bob them up by the dozen. He'd answer. Beautiful question, beautiful answers.
Was he?
Oh, he was terrific.
He must have been, like Stan Moran in a different way was also a quick.
Yeah, Stan was quick.
Yeah.
Because Fred was brilliant.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah. Stan was good. Stan was real good. But Fred was exceptionally brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, he was a Rhodes Scholar, went there after the war. But he was terrific, old Fred.
Well, let's start at the beginning. How did you get to Cairns? How did you come to be involved in the Cairns riot? What was your background? Were you on the track?
Yeah, on the track, yeah.
What did you do? Were you a wharfie then?
Christ, no. Wharfie? You couldn't get a bloody on the wharf at those times. No. How I got to Cairns, well, I'm exposed when I was up there.
Were you?
Ah. But yeah, turn that off for a minute.
Yeah, Cairns.
Well, first of all, before I went to Cairns, they were to pick up the swag. I've knocked around a horse. I've got something that Len Fox down here. Okay. Put down here. Like you can have that if you want.
Thank you very much. When were you born?
I was born in 27th of October 1911.
Ah, you're only a boy. You're only 63.
Yeah.
God, I mostly took people who were 80. I mostly took people who were 75 to 80 to 95. So you're only a boy.
Well, somebody reckon I'll be that old?
No. But all I'm saying is, most people were born in 1911. When did you pick up your swag?
Must have been about 1930. I left home about 1930, and anyhow my horse got knocked off. Somebody lost my horse. Anyhow, I finished up on the swag. When I left home on a horse.
Where'd you live?
Queensland.
You're in Queensland?
Oh, I am in Queensland.
What part?
I was born at Wynnum, and we're near down where Jeff Wills.
I know Jeff Wills very well. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah, good. And then we went to live at Goodna, and that was the first jail I was ever inside. Was Goodna. I went to the Goodna Convent School, and at the Goodna Convent School, in the same class as me was a gentleman by the name of Snowy Kilpatrick. He'll come into it later, Snowy Kilpatrick. And then later I went to the state school at Goodna. We were taught by a gentleman by the name of W.M. Miles, an Englishman. And he told me something. I didn't learn that much at school because I had to do too much work before I went to school. I'd have to walk, nothing for me to work 4 or 5 miles, round up some cows and bring them home and milk 4 or 5, and then maybe I'd separate the milk and then walk another mile after school. So naturally I couldn't learn too much.
Your old man was a dairy farmer, wasn't
No, he was a ward at the Goodness Asylum. He was a ward at the Goodness Asylum, and Goodness Asylum. And
How did you come to be milking cows? You had a few cows as
we had
well?
a few cows on the side, so and only had a small acreage, and they used to let them run wild. That's how I ran them up. And and of course we were brought up very strict Catholics. And while I was rounding up these cows, but of course they had no boots, we were all barefoot, and rounding up these cows, and I'd often kick my toe in the calm mornings, and many times I'd have a sore toe. And of course, when I'd kick my toe, I'd swear. And we used to go to, when we were at the convent school, we used to get marched over to confession once a month. I take a confession. And Father Stapleton was the priest, and I used to try and be as accurate as I could and tell him how many times I swore within the month. And I used to go to it, and he threatened to have me put in a reformatory. That's what he did, because he knew we didn't have any money, and there was a team of us, there were 7 of us all together, but the 2 girls, they didn't live at home, but the father reared the 5 of us, and Joe, he was the oldest when Mum died, and he would be about 10, I suppose, and the youngest was 6 months. So they were good Catholics, and no doubt, son didn't quite understand why she died. And anyhow, Tom McCarroll, he's got a cousin working on the water fund. Stapleton made him cry many times. He'd come back from confession crying, but he never got me to tears. But he used to. But anyhow, But I ask Joe when Joe was dying a few years ago. I asked him, because we were isolated out in the bush, and Joe told me that this Catholic Church is a fake. And I asked him a few years ago, how did you come to that? Because he had no books to read or nothing, he never couldn't go to the domain and hear anybody speak or anything. And he said, what made you, how did you come to that conclusion? Because he broke up when he was 10 or 11 years of age. Oh, he said, that drunken Father Stapleton. He said he was always on the whiskey. He always had whiskey. And he got to, but anyhow, getting out, I've got to play. Anyhow, I lost my horse and knocked around the track for a while. And I was in Rockhampton in January 19... Well, first of all, I was in Rockhampton in January 1931. I got pinched jumping the train with some other blokes, and we put 5 days in the Rockhampton jail. Well, I was only a young bloke then at the time, but there was blokes there younger than me, and I remember I got into a fight with a bloke there. They were picked on this young kid. But anyhow, that was it. But anyhow, it was late in 1931. January 1932, I'm there again. Camped under the Black Bridge in Rockhampton, and at that time, ration day was every Tuesday of the week, and you had to be at a different town to draw that dole. The idea of that was to keep the travelling unemployed on the move. On the move. Don't let them congregate, whether they might get together and organise. And anyhow, as we went to jump the train out of Rockhampton, the police were there and prevented us from leaving. And a gentleman younger than me, and he lives over here, he, with other of us, went around the unemployed, under the bridges and around the Fitzroy River to organise a demonstration. That would be the first attempt to organise travelling unemployed in Queensland.
Was he a left winger?
Oh, Christ, yes. In 1932.
And you were 21?
Oh, I'll have been about that, yes. Yeah. Anyhow, yeah, that was the first attempt. Went around there, and he was a tremendous battler. Lou William, God blimey, tenacious tiger he was. And anyhow, we had a demonstration, and we had quite a victory. we got a place to camp, which was known as the Giggle House. Have you heard of the Giggle House?
Yeah.
Well, he's the bloke, with the support of me and a few others, that got it. But Lou Elliott was the main driving force that got the Giggle House.
Was he a Rockhampton resident?
No, he come from the Northern Rivers.
Oh, I see.
He was on the train. No, this travel. This was.
They were all travelling unemployed.
All travelling unemployed. Oh yeah, there was no locals involved in it. So anyhow, we had a deputation to the Lord Mayor and the police, and the upshot was that we got rations next day without travelling for it. The photos there, I'll tell you about them later.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. We got the upshot was we got. We didn't have to travel.
You got rations because you couldn't travel because you couldn't get out of Rockhampton.
Oh, well, if we could have walked.
Well, 300 miles to the next decent town.
Oh, no, 50 mile it was. Mount Larkham was the place where we were going to go. That was 50 mile away then. That we would have to walk there to get the dole.
Was it hard to get a demonstration of the unemployed up?
Very hard.
Why?
Oh, they were demoralised.
Yeah. They didn't feel there was any use fighting.
They couldn't see any hope. They're hopeless. They were leadership for so long. The Labor Party or the trade union movement left the unemployed
For dead.
For dead. And it was hard, very hard, they're demoralised to get any movement at that time. It was extremely difficult.
I believe you got this feeling that, just pick up and go. Somewhere better, somewhere else.
Hopelessness.
Yeah, just get up, might be better somewhere else.
Yeah, it was hopelessness, yeah. So that was January 1932.
Excuse me, had you been raised to any trade?
No.
Just bushwork and labouring.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea was, I've been thinking about it later looking at my brother, the idea was when I was young to be a bricklayer, and I'm glad I wasn't. He's a plasterer. The best in the country, they reckon he is.
Yeah,
but anyhow, he can have it.
So there you are, you're in Rockhampton, you got your rations. What happened then?
Well, yeah, we got the Giggle House.
Yeah, oh that's right, and you were allowed to stop there, were you?
Yeah. The Giggle House, so it became a famous place. It was a shelter. You're out of the rain, and where you could have a wash, and you could, cook. But this way there was a shower. See, the thing was you could shower, wash your clothes.
Was it an old lunatic asylum? Was it?
Yeah, lunatic asylum. Yes.
And did anyone was it run by the travelling unemployed?
Yeah, run by the travelling unemployed.
There wouldn't be.
No manager.
You manage it yourself.
Yeah, manage yourself. Yeah. It was set up a committee in the air and travelling. But that was quite an achievement at that time, extremely good achievement. But we must say this about the Lord Mayor Lee. He was very sympathetic to us. He was
Labor Party man.
Yes, he had been an ex-railway man, and he was quite good. He was quite sympathetic, and he was. Was through his help that we were able to get that. And that was, looking back at that time to get a place like that was a big victory.
Because their idea would be to shovel you on, wouldn't they?
Oh, that was the idea. That was to shovel you on. That was the general idea, to keep the unemployed on the move. You see, Gladstone was a notorious place for bagmen, that's travelling unemployed. A policeman by the name of Bobberman. That's the bloke that Scotty fought.
That's right. I knew I heard
He fought him. Beat him too.
Yeah.
He was a tough man, that Scotsman.
He's only little.
Yeah, he was good. Exceptionally good.
What, butt him in the stomach and that with his head or something?
With his fists and grab him. He was good. He was tough. Bloody hell. That's why Scotty, he's gone a bit queer of that, but he's a tremendous bloke in my book. I remember.
I'm very fond of Scott.
He's a terrific bloke. He's a terrific bloke, the Scotsman. Oh, Christ. Yeah, but anyhow, Bobberman, he'd come down. He'd come down, on their, when they'd got the dole, and they'd cook a bit of meat. Lucky to get a bit of meat, even there was plenty of supply of it. But he'd come down and kick it off the fire. We'd have got to cook it, he'd kick it off the fire on you. And anyhow,
that was Gladstone.
That was Gladstone.
How long could you stop in the Giggle House?
Oh, well, Japoon became a place where you could get the dole too, so you could go down there and back in the one day. See?
So you could be camping in the Giggle House for a while and go down and get your dole and your poon.
Yes, that was something else that we're able to get in. so you could stop there indefinitely, but you had to go somewhere else. Although we got it 3 weeks in a row, then we had to get out, we had to go somewhere else, and then you get in Rockhampton. See, you're right, and then you go somewhere else and back to Rockhampton. See, that was the idea. So anyhow, after Rockhampton, I moved on. I went up to Cairns, and when I got there, they told me that they're staying put because they've the previous year a shelter had been built at Innisfail for the travelling unemployed, and the council had promised to build a shelter for the unemployed in Cairns. They promised that months previous, but nothing had, no attempt had been made to start it. So this was 6 weeks before the show, and they said, righto, we're organising, but they're not going to build a shelter, we're not going to leave the showground, this is where we camp.
How many of you were there?
Well, you see, they were on the move all the time, but there'd be probably as many as 70, 80, maybe, you know.
When you were there, when the riot was on?
Oh no, there wasn't that many. There was there'd be 70, but there was continuous going through all the time. So some would stay, like they said, well, stay here, so I stayed. I stayed for 6 weeks.
And you could draw your rations at Cairns one time and down the line another time?
Oh, wait a minute. In the meantime, from Rockhampton, after Rockhampton, there had been elections, and the Moore government was put out.
Foreman Smith.
Yeah, and the Labor Party returned, and that meant to say that you couldn't, that you could stay, you could get more.
They were a bit easier on the travelling unemployed.
Yeah. So, so we could. That was brought in while we were there, because the first time I saw Jack McCormick was in Gordonvale on my way up, and they weren't going to give us the dole until late in the day, and McCormick got up in the courtyard and held a meeting, and they immediately give us the dole.
Really?
Oh,
they were really frightened. Any signs of organisation they'd give him?
Yeah.
They were supposed to give you the bloody dole.
Yeah. Well, they weren't going to give us late in the day. There's some court case on or something. And because there was a court case on, they would leave the bagmen, leave the travelling unemployed. But it didn't matter to them. They had breakfast or anything to eat the day before.
Did you find much of this petty bloody bureaucracy and standover?
By the police?
Yeah, or by anybody, by all sorts of officials?
Oh, but particularly the police.
Were they?
Oh, Christ, yes. Oh, I'll tell you some incidents later.
Good.
Yeah, so anyhow, when I was on camp, they said, well, they promised so you better stay here for a while. So I did. And of course, we had meetings at the very, in the park. And a bloke named Frank Rogers, he was very bad eyes, Frank, and he was very well read gentleman. And he had experience in the Darwin previously.
At the riot there.
So he'd experienced...
Gilruth, getting rid of Gilruth, that's right. Gilruth was the administrator of they chucked him out.
Yeah, he'd had some experience there, Frank. Frank was a very colourful character. Well, I wouldn't say colourful to look at him, you wouldn't think you were too bum. But he had quite a brain. And he'd get up, he had bad eyes, and he'd get up to speak, and he'd rub his arms. Aristotle said 2,000 years ago, without money there is no freedom. Oh, another quote, quote. He was quite a character, a real likeable bloke, and quite extremely courageous, as I'll tell you later. Anyhow, they organised, had meetings there every week, and some stayed, some wouldn't stay, and so it went on, and it was winter time. Even though it gets quite cold in Cairns, and as the show period gets closer, the tension is worked up. The forces of reaction are working actively through the Returned Soldiers League and various Chamber of Commerce and City Council and whatever other the church, whatever organisation they had it there, whatever they had, they used it, and of course the press to attack us, and but nevertheless we rallied, and we had a couple of good demonstrations in Cairns,
Did it rouse any opposition from the cops, or did they let you have the demonstration?
No, the police warned us and we wanted to demonstrate, so we walked along the footpath. We left the park at a certain time and had a pre-arranged meeting place. And Jim Slater, who was working in Gordonvale Mill, who had been an AW representative for there, he spoke as a unionist, and said the return soldier, they were using the Return Soldier League. Well, he also spoke as a return soldier. And Jim very well, very well received.
He was a local guy or an unemployed?
Jim Slater, he came from Gordonvale.
Ah, yes.
He was working in Gordonvale Mill.
I believe he's still living. Someone told me I should say.
He's in Brisbane.
Yeah. Oh, is he?
Very sick man.
Yeah.
He is very old man. Returned son of the First War. Yeah, but still going. He's still going.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jim. I don't know how. So it went on. We had a couple of good demonstrations, and anyhow, the time gets near. 17th of July. No, the show was to open on the 18th of July, and a few nights. Friday night there was a scare, they were going to attack. Saturday night, and of course we were standing too. We had pickets, we had concerts organised around a campfire. A bloke named Tiger Wilson, who was in Brisbane.
I'm looking for him. Anyway, tell us about Tiger. You'll excuse us, won't you, Jenny? So feel free to sit down and listen.
Well, we're in the park, Parramatta Park. Battle is looming.
He's a swaggy. And the local RSL and the establishment are throwing him out of the Parramatta Park. Well, what happened to Tiger Wilson?
Tiger Wilson was the driving force in the concerts. We had a fire around them with the big concerts, and Tiger was the driving force around the concert. He was 18. He may have been 18. He was 17 or 18 at the time.
Only a boy, yeah.
Yeah, only a boy. And even though we were all of us only young at the time, the bulk of us only young, but Tiger was younger than us at the time. And Tiger did a good job of organising. He was quite a
Did you have special songs and things? Did you make up parodies and that sort of thing about the locals, or?
Oh no, not particularly. No,
I just wondered if any political songs came in.
No, not that I can remember.
And what was this? This was sort of more or less just part of the social life, to raise money, or?
Oh no, just entertainment ourselves.
Yes,
the fire was it was winter time, and around the fire and.
You were camping? Were you under sheds or something?
Sometimes no. I remember I wasn't under a shed, but I was out in the open. But some did camp in the sheds, but it was too drafty, and the stands were very drafty. And Tiger, around the concerts. But anyhow, a couple of false alarms come. We had pickets out. But anyhow, on the Sunday morning, after all their mobilisation, the attack came. They drew police in from outer suburbs, and everything else all the forces of reaction moved in. The brewery, Fogarty, and the sawmill. They were told to likewise, and the big stores that they.
What did Fogarty tell the employees?
If you're not there in Parramatta Park, to mash up the unemployed on Sunday, don't come to work on Monday. And the sawmillers told them likewise, and the big stores in the main also told them. And of course the RSL was working flat out, and the priest told in the congregation on the Sunday morning to get down and deal with the unruly Reds. And there was only he wouldn't, if that had been nice, and he was the only communist there. I only remember at that time. And anyhow, the attack came on Sunday morning, and a big bus come through the gate.
Bus?
The police, the men of the vanguard, 48 police. Well, it said there was 70 of us. Well, you could take half them out. You could say at the most we had 50.
Well, actually resisting.
Combatants, 50 combatants. Well, we had 48 police to start with, and we had several hundred others.
Yeah.
But anyhow...
You'd have think 2,000 was an exaggeration.
Oh, well, there would have been 2,000 there altogether, but they would have had 400 or 500. They brought the farmers down from the tablelands, and they brought them everywhere. The tablelands, and they brought them up from the coast and down the coast. They brought them everywhere to get into us. But anyhow, as they moved in, even so, we'd say if we had 50, Well, if we'd have get rid of 20 of them and got rid of another, if we'd had another 12 winning blokes, I reckon we'd have still won. But, but we had some very willing men. We were very, of course, I was pretty willing myself them days.
How would you prepare yourselves?
Oh, we had waddies.
And stones and things, bricks? What
No,
did you lie?
we didn't have bricks. We didn't have any bricks. No, the kids had the bricks. They hit me with bricks. And there was a bit of a stockade. Well, we were outmanoeuvred, we were a bit further. We knew it was going to come in the stalls, the horse stall where they were camped, where the battle would take place. And we didn't think it wasn't real sensible where we did, but anyhow, we took up a position there, and I was on side of a horse stall, and I got up on top of it. Oh, I strut-legged. It was about a stockade, it was, it was saplings. And a policeman went to, some civilian interfered with Jack Keane, and the policeman drew his baton, and he was just about to whack him. But I got in first. I dropped him. I dropped Sergeant Christie. I whacked him. We were right down here with a lump of wood.
Oh, it wasn't just fists, you were in it.
Oh, I had a lump of wood. Oh no. They had batons. And whatnot. Yeah. And no, it wasn't just fists. Oh no fists.
Yeah, and what now, did the local inhabitants, so really, how many would you say were actually combatants on the side?
Well, that'd be very hard to say. To get a figure. But they had, you could say, several hundred.
Actually?
Yeah, conservative figure would be several hundred.
Actually fighting?
Yeah, ready. Yeah. Anyhow, I dropped this policeman, and of course I got hit with everything. There was kids on the roof with stones and bottles and Christ knows what. And of course, as soon as I dropped him, I got down off the fence. I jumped down, and of course the battle's on. And of course the battle was flying everywhere, bugs going down, and I got hit with it early. Huey. Senior Constable Huey, he broke his baton over somebody's head, and he picked up a yard broom, what they used for using at the stall, and he whacked me over the head with that. Luckily I had a big head of hair then, and a hat, and they hit me head too. I had something in the hat. And the battle didn't last long, naturally, because we were overwhelmed. But nevertheless, some of our blokes, like Snowy Hill and his brother and different others, they put up a tremendous performance. And McCormick went down. He was one of the leaders, and they hit him while he was on the ground. Cut his ear across here with a shovel.
That's right, someone told me he nearly lost his ear.
They cut it right across here. I went to see him in Stewart's Creek Jail afterwards. While he was waiting trial.
He was the one that was supposed to have thrown a bomb.
Yeah.
What actually happened about that?
Well, they said it was a bomb. I don't know. I don't know whether it was in the bomb. What it was supposed to be.
There was an explosion, was there?
An explosion of some sort. Whether it was anything to do. It wasn't wouldn't have been in any consequences, but it was just I don't know.
Yeah. I believe he got injured. Was that because of the explosion, or?
Oh no, he got injured because he was stepped out of. He was further out than others, and he was the bloke they were. One of the main bloke they were after.
Was he a sort of...
A leader.
What would you call him? Was he an anarchist, an IWW type? What was his...
Well, it'd be very hard to depict him. He was a radical. He had no political affiliations. He didn't belong to any political party. And a bad thing about him, he wasn't a reader.
No.
He used to like to listen to lectures, anybody speaking, but he wasn't a reader. And he, like me, had a very religious background.
He was a man of he was an wild Irishman type of a sort of.
Well, yes, it could be. Yes, he was.
Yeah, that's right.
But this Frank Rogers come in. I'll never forget Frank. He was right. I was right alongside Frank. Although he was standing on the ground, I was straddled across the stockade. Frank. He turned around as the police got near. Comrades, as we go down, walk over us. Oh, Frank Rogers, yes. Yes, Frank Rogers, yes. And Frank, peculiar enough, for all the battle he'd been in, never got a scratch.
Didn't he? How long did it all last?
Oh, it didn't last long.
Half an hour?
Oh, Christ no.
What, less?
Oh, yeah.
It's only you're pretty well done over.
Oh, Christ, yes.
And,
Oh.
and you said the local population, you never had, in all that crowd there that was sort of come to watch, not many were on the side of the unemployed.
No.
Not noticeably.
Not noticeably.
Was Cairns a conservative town?
Yes.
Not a militant North Queensland type, not a militant town like
Oh
Darwin or
no!
Mackay.
In the 1928 wharf strike, the farmers went down and they bashed the blokes working at the wharf and went to the board. They burnt it down a boarding house where they lived, and they wouldn't pay. They never fought back. Oh yes, there was no resistance at all, no organised resistance. Oh yeah, just real conservative, run over the top of them, no trouble at all.
Oh, I see.
Oh yes, conservative. Oh yes, conservative background. The Atherton table end at the back of them, and the sugar farm, the Gordon farm, very conservative. Oh yes.
Listen, someone told me that the council had offered you tents and things to move out into. Was that right? Did you remember that?
Oh yeah, they did offer us a couple of tents. We had to, but.
Your main point in staying there was as a demonstration for your decent shelter. I mean, this was the point, you wanted a shelter.
Mm.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Well, like an analysis of it afterwards was that we were wrong in staying flat-footed for so long. It was all right to use that. But as the show got near, well, we should have went up and camped in the police station.
Yeah, I see.
You see, we should have